Namaskaram. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Deva, Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat, Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Welcome to the all-women knowledge series of Abhyaasam. This is the first episode. I will be presenting that to all of you. And every fortnight, we will have a senior artist or an upcoming star of the next gen presenting different editions of Abhyasam. Why Abhyasam? Why are we suddenly talking about Abhyasam? Because I have always felt that all over the world we have students of music, gurus teaching music, rasikas who listen to music and would also want to know more about the intricacies of practice, of learning, of teaching, of Abhyasa. And hence, we have conceptualized this series. Each of these artists will talk about Abhyasam from their perspective, from their experience, how they learnt what they learnt from their gurus, how they continue to sing, and how they will start to teach in future. Many of you might think that everything is available online with the touch of a button. So why put in the effort to have this series? What we read, what we see is different from what one experiences. And I'm sure Abhyasam will reach out to every one of you watching it for its sheer experience, for the experience that has been felt by each one of us. I would like to put out a disclaimer that whatever I say is purely my thought, is purely my expression. There might be some people who would debate about it, who might think differently about it. But as I said, each one of us will only be expressing what we feel. Why today? Because today is the 31st of October, the day when my dear Guru, Padma Bhushan, Sangeeta Kalanidhi, Dr. Vasanthakumari Amma, chose to leave her physical being 30 years ago and leave for us her inimitable, irreplaceable, very unique and creative music. Today, 30 years later, on the 31st of October 2020, if each one of us is able to connect to every swara that she sang, to every raga that she delineated, it's because of her majesty in presentation, because of the creativity that flowed literally like the cascade of water that flows when we look at a waterfall. All of us unanimously accept that her creativity is to be experienced, to be believed. That was the impact that she had, that her music had on every Rasika who listened to her concerts. I do not know if this half hour that I'm going to talk will cover all the aspects that I would like to express. So maybe, depending on the feedback that we get from you, I would do a few more sessions after the episodes that will follow by other artists. I take this moment to thank each and every artist who agreed to be a part of Abhyasa. What does the word Abhyasa mean? Abhyasa is derived from the verb abhyas and is a combination of two root words, abhi, which is near, plus asa, to sit. The great sage Patanjali defines abhyasa as the practice or discipline that is used to attain and remain in a state of harmony with the self. There are three essentials that are required for abhyasa. One is practicing for a long period of time. The next is practice without interruption. And the third is staying committed to the practice. Abhyasa needs to be practiced regularly with perfect faith and devotion to the art. And if you ask me, it should continue even after one thinks they have touched apparent perfection. Eventually, it is such resolute that will reflect in everything that we do in our daily life and help us to get more focused and effective. Abhyasam can also be expressed as riyaz, sadhana, sadhakam, and simply practice. Here, while I speak of my practice methods, I'm also going to bring in points of how I have evolved as a musician because of my consistent focus, grit, determination, steadfastness, resilience, tenacity, faith in the blessings of my dear Guru, belief in the fact that I can do. When we listen to a raga, especially when it is sung so creatively and so flawlessly by legends such as MLV, we do feel very tiny in front of that colossus. I even wonder, will I ever be able to produce a minuscule effect of what her raga did? But the faith in oneself, the trust in our practice, slowly chisels out all those rough edges, and we start to enter the ocean, sagara, of Carnatic music and the abhyasam that is necessary to practice our music. First of all, I'd like to mention about the parampara that I belong to, my guru's striking style, her outlook on teaching and generally on practice. Definitely, I have to mention here that it's my punya that I was trained by MLV Amma. MLV Amma belongs to the GMB parampara, and she was so generous in her teaching that students flocked to her. We all wanted to sing Baro Krishnaya, Hari Smarani Mado, Bala Gopala, Jaisanadella, Yatuta Nilichite, Yedeya Gati, Yemani Pagududara, Rakasa Shivadana, Nidaya Radha, Marugilera. I could just go on. Each one of us wanted to sing it to perfection the way that MLV Amma sang it. And we all strived to walk on that path that she trailblazed. So many of us have been there in this, under this lineage. And we have been blessed to have her Kadaikan Parve. Some of us are performing, some of us are teaching, some of us turned out to be homemakers, yet we're all little chess pawns in that larger game that she played. How did she teach? She would always say that Kelvi Jnanam, what one listens to, is more important, is very critical, the way you listen to something, more than learning anything from her. So my music evolved mainly from listening to my guru's music. Over the 13 years that I literally stayed with her, I can say that several hundreds of concerts have left a very deep imprint in my brain. And when I think of particular ragas like Andolika, Narayani, Shiva Shakti, Madhyamavati, Shanmugapriya, even other ragas that she sang for her Ragam Tana Pallavis, like Shekhara Chandrika, Revati. I go back to those concerts, reminiscing. It's really a walk down memory lane. And I feel that her music still stays evergreen, in the sense that I'm able to recall every Sangati that she sang in that particular concert. It was with so much intent, so much focus and concentration, alertness, that I would watch her singing while I played the tampura. How she would say that I will sing Shankarabharanam today, and suddenly looking at the audience, turn that to Natakurinji. How she would deliver, how she would throw the magic, and the audience would just sway under that effect, MLV effect. She never had time to sit and teach every single Sangati. So she would say, you sit and learn from the notations you sit and learn from the recordings that you have made of my concerts, that people, Rasikas, have of her concerts. It was a challenge thrown to me, but if today I'm able to grapple with any raga or any kriti and quickly internalize it, it is because of MLV Amma's guidance, of the way she trained me. As regards practice, she would always say, never strain your voice, never push the voice against the wall. Do as much practice as the voice allows, and don't stipulate yourself to saying, I want to practice for 3 hours, I want to practice for 4 hours. Some days the voice is very pliable, very malleable, flexible, and you don't feel the strain of practice. But some days the voice is dry, the body is tired. And when the body is tired, definitely the voice also becomes tired, because it is the lung power and the breath that you have that comes out as nada. As regards the methodology of training, MLV Amma would say, learn as many varnas, as many kritis as possible in a particular raga. For several days, keep practicing, dwell on the same raga. And with good reason, because your brain starts to tune to those little nuances in the raga. Every day, as you sing the same raga, you find different dimensions. From the kritis, you learn. Say for example, Todi. We have Sri Krishna Bhajamanasa, Ramachandraya Namaste, Emi Jesite, Jesinidella, Kaddanuvariki, Koluva Maragatari. Each kriti has the structure of Todi built differently in it. And as the mind grapples with the kriti, it takes in the different swarupas of the same Todi in the different kritis. And hence you get familiar with the raga. As regards posture, of course, it is so important that we sit upright, that the spinal cord is more straight than curved. As we start to sing, as we start to speak, we tend to slouch a bit, to develop a hunch. And when the microphone is before you, you tend to put out your neck. If we are able to not digress from the straight posture, it's good for us, because it keeps this space open for the sound to come out as voice. When we talk about the voice, people think it's so easy. I mean, they learn to sing, they're trained to sing. So the voice just comes out as nada, as the swaras. But no, I think the physical fitness of us, of each one of us, the breathing techniques, everything is important. I'm no authority to teach you about the breathing techniques, because each one requires a certain practice. The methods that we adopt or adapt to are extremely personalized. So you need to seek a guru to learn pranayama and breathing exercises, and do it meticulously every single day. because singing is all about breathing. Vocal cords. What are they? They're called vocal folds and are two bands of smooth muscle tissue found in the larynx, the voice box. The vocal cords vibrate and air passes through the cords from the lungs to produce the sound of your voice. With the help of air coming from the lungs, the sound created is the original physical sound, prakriti dhvani, which gets modified or modulated according to the need, and this sound in the form of music is called Vikriti Dhvani or Nada. There is far more to singing than just the vocal cords. Much of the sound of a singer's voice is shaped and influenced by the muscles in the throat and the face, including your nasal passages. The vocal folds are made up of three major layers from deep to superficial. The vocalis muscle, the lamina propria, really three layers, deep, intermediate and superficial, and the epithelium or epithelial tissue. The vocalis muscle is the most viscous and necessary to change the vibratory patterns of the entire system. The lamina propria, made up of three layers, is a little more pliable and allows for more ease of vibration throughout the vocal fold. The most superficial layer is the epithelium, as I said earlier, or the epithelial tissue that is found throughout the entire body. The thin layer of tissue is the least viscous of the three major layers and therefore most easily set into motion or vibration. These layers work together to create the vibratory characteristics of one's voice, along with the respiratory system, which provides the power supply. If these tissues are dry or dehydrated, it is possible that they lose their inherent vibratory characteristics, thus changing the voice. That is why doctors, our gurus, people who advise us about the condition of the voice keep telling us to hydrate ourselves, not just before the concert, not just before you sing. Dehydration causes a lot of dryness in the voice. As women, as we go through a lot of hormonal changes, there is scope for us to become dehydrated. And hence, drinking water, especially warm water, really helps us keep the voice hydrated. That is extremely important. Please note that. What about food habits? The question of whether spicy foods, are they good or bad for singing? It's so confusing. So many students, so many people have asked me that question, whether food has an effect on the voice. What kind of food that we eat will cause any kind of damage or will cause a disturbance or a distortion in the voice. It's not so clear-cut. It really depends on each person. What agrees with my system might not be right for you. What I abstain from may be okay for you. As regards my journey, I have realized that spicy food, especially before a concert or on the day of the concert, isn't such a great thing for me. Neither the spice nor the pullipu, the citric, or the oily foods agree with me if I indulge in them on the day before the concert or on the day of the concert. There is a certain disturbance that it causes. In fact, in 2015, I did take a hiatus, a sabbatical from singing concerts because I developed an acid reflux problem where the acid in the stomach comes up and disturbs the vocal cords. It comes up as a rush and just perhaps sprays a bit of acid around that area, and that causes so much of disturbance, I can tell you. It's out of pure sheer experience that I'm telling you to be careful in what you eat, what you choose to eat, especially on the days that you perform. It is extremely important that spicy foods, when combined with oil, can add grease to your throat and cause phlegm. This massively affects your tonal quality, and hence there is that little temptation to keep clearing your throat. What happens when you clear your throat? Doing so involves your vocal cords suddenly smacking together, which automatically leads to vocal fatigue. If you need to clear your throat, I would suggest that you avoid that temptation and drink warm black tea or plain water, and it soothes any irritation. Also, the salt present in some spicy dishes dehydrates the voice by absorbing any moisture. It makes it difficult for us to sing. When there is no moisture in that area, with a dry mouth, your vocal cords aren't lubricated, which automatically limits their flexibility. The most common reason cited against the favor of sour foods is that these foods are acidic in nature. Anything that has been deep fried or prepared in a lot of oil tends to irritate your vocal cords with too much fat. Not only can they increase the phlegm in your throat, but they can cause vocal cord inflammation. Vocalists with acid reflux or heartburn, like me, should be particularly careful and precautious, as a stomach acid problem can wreak havoc on your vocal cords. Acid reflux is a primordial point of concern. Having spoken about diet, having spoken about the training that I had with my guru, now I indulge in the real practice that happens. It is important that we warm up the voice before we start to really start singing our kritis or raga alaps. Each one is endowed with a characteristic voice. The voice has a particular timbre. And these practices that I'm going to tell you, I'm going to share with you, will add basic strength to the inherent voice. I'm going to sing on G sharp. You could do the same practice in G or F sharp or A, whichever shruti that you are used to singing in. Each one of us choose to sing in a particular shruti. So let's not strain our voice by trying to sing in a shruti that doesn't really reflect the quality of our voice. That is a very important point to note. And don't keep sliding on your shrutis, singing on a very high shruti or singing in a very low shruti without guidance, without proper guidance. Because the vocal cords are very fragile, very delicate, and we need to protect them as you would probably protect your diamonds. The first exercise that I'm going to tell you is the Sari Gama Pada Nisa. I will do it in Maya Malava Gaula. We do it with counts. I take in the breath, inhale to 4 counts and pause just a second and then exhale 8 counts. When you inhale, your stomach has to come out. Keep your jaw dropped. Keep it loose. The cheek muscles should also be loose. No tension around the jaw nor the cheek. So you move from sa, ri, ga, ma, pa, da, ni. Ga, ri, sa. You see that the sound that comes out is not your normal ah. It's not the same. When you drop your jaw and you relax your cheek, the sound is different to the ear, but that's how it should be. That's number 1 exercise. The next one is the slide exercise. Keep your cheek muscles loose. There is no time duration here. As I said, to traverse on the scales, you need someone, an expert, a voxologist, a therapist to guide you. So I would think that you stick to your own shruti to do the slide. How you should not do. Sa, sa. You shouldn't do it this way. It should be a sa to sa slide, a curve. So when you come down, the ah becomes almost air. Open up the base, and then as you go up, the volume becomes, the space in the volume becomes narrowed. Can you see that automatically the vocal cords will stretch themselves? There will be more elasticity because of the retention in the swaras. In the earlier exercise, your sthana shuddha becomes more perfect, more refined, more steady. Voice becomes flowy and steady. Your range improves. The smoothness sets in. The next one is humming. And the same sa-re-ga-ma-pa-da-ni-sa. You see that the voice moves near the nasal passages. Humming is a great warm-up exercise. You resonate the voice with gently closed lips, not tight, not pursed lips. Keep the lips gently closed, smile and sing. It's not the volume that matters, it's the sound and the ease. You feel wonderful. There is a feeling of happiness that sets in when you hum with a smile and practice. Try it and you'll feel it yourself. Humming, researchers say, soothes the voice. It's self-soothing. It reduces stress and it produces neurochemicals like oxytocin. These three exercises are very basic exercises that anyone can do in the Shruti that you sing on. The one thing to remember is that the cheek muscles and the jaw should be absolutely relaxed. The jaw should drop, the lower jaw. So when you keep it loose and dropped, and you practice the sa-sa and the sa-re-ga-ma-pa-da-ni-sa and the humming, the voice gets to warm up. And then you're ready to sing your kritis. How do you learn compositions? How do you learn to sing raga? How do you learn to sing swaras? Unless you jump into the water, you're never going to learn to swim. It's not easy to sing raga or swaras. But when you keep on practicing, when you keep going over them again and again, it becomes easy. And soon you reach a point where the maturity of expression sets in and you're able to do it. I'm not singing the raga. Now I'm singing swaras. Learn to enjoy and feel happy about the swaras. You know that Hamsadvani is and how you know alphabets and you start to write, create words and create an essay with those words. You use your creativity. So do you start to sing swaras and ragas using your creativity and using the swaras that are characteristic of a particular raga. I gave you an example of Hamsadwani. So each raga has its own swarupa. You get to know the swarupa and then you start to learn how to sing the raga. Of course, you have your guru to guide you, and of course you sing in front of the guru so that she's able to find out where you falter, where the mistakes lie, and guide you. But I would think that the time that you spend with yourself is much more than the time you spend with your guru. So the experimentation, the practice, the abhyasam, all of it happens more when you are by yourself. And doing abhyasam every day with discipline, with determination, and with faith definitely helps you to take wider strides, faster strides in your journey into the world of music. I will continue this session later with more tips on how to sing raga, how does one sing swara, how does one practice akriti neraval. I will just teach you one little exercise to tighten your rhythm. Practice it and see after a week or a fortnight whether it helps you. You know Aditalam, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now just say takadimi. Takadimi, 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 takataki, takadimi, 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 takataki, takadimi, 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 takataki, takadimi, 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 takataki, takadimi. You see that tightness that comes in some of the cycles? And when you hold on to the grip of the tala with your takadimi and just use the takatakita at the end, you will see that your grip over layam and rhythm becomes tighter. And once you achieve it in one tala cycle, you can apply this to any other tala cycle with different patterns. Right now, I have to stop because I know the attention span of anyone who listens to a lecture or a talk or an exposition. The attention span is really not tight after half hour. And we are running beyond half hour now. So, till we meet again, you need to open your heart and mind to the wonderful, intricate observations and experiences and tips for practice that my colleagues will be offering to you in the next episodes. Keep watching us, keep listening to us, and be safe. Till then, till the next episode, bye-bye.